In today's video, we're going to be talking about some snowfall opportunities for the eastern United States as we still have a cool down that now is expected to be still on the same date as we've been seeing for a few days now, which is good news. We want to see that consistently happening to feel confident in it. So the fact that that's still there is a good thing. We still have a snowstorm, Miller B nor'easter type storm, potentially happening with that cool down as it swings in. And then now I think a nor'easter pattern might set in afterwards. I have a couple of pieces of evidence to suggest that I'll show you guys at the end of this video. So stay tuned for that. We're going to go over the current conditions first though. We can see some storm systems moving through the northwestern corner of the nation. So we see some precipitation moving in here, some moving up into here as well. And then we just see this frontal boundary in here creating some storminess in this area as well. Now, we'll zoom into all these different regions. As you can see out west, it's typically like this, but we see snowfall in the mountainous regions, rainfall in the coastal regions, and that's going to pretty much stay true no matter where the precipitation is here in the west. We see snowfall again for the Cascades here, even for the Olympic mountain range there, and then we see these kind of heavier showers moving onshore that are mostly rainfall for the coastal and lower elevations, snowfall for the higher elevation areas. We have some passing snow showers up here for Idaho and Montana. But as we work our way further south into Idaho, Wyoming, Nevada, and Utah, I don't know if I said that already yet, but we see that there is heavier snowfall for these states, especially there in southern Idaho, where we have snow squall warnings coming through with these very heavy pockets of snowfall. Certainly whiteout conditions for a few areas in there, especially in the whites and blues there, indicating very heavy snowfall. Keep that in mind. We do have a frontal boundary to our south here, kind of just stretching across the deep south, all the way into the southeast. We have some frontal boundaries all connected here. And this is leading towards showery activity, as you can see, across states like New Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, pretty much all of your southern states involved here in some of the showery activity here. Certainly very, very interesting things happening. As we work our way a little bit further northward, though, we see there is a low that is bringing very heavy snowfall to portions of Wisconsin and Illinois, as well as maybe portions of southern Minnesota there, now even Indiana and Michigan. But these pockets are extremely heavy near Milwaukee. If you do happen to be up there, let us know what the conditions are like, because there is extremely heavy snowfall. It seems like Chicago's maybe mixing back and forth between freezing rain, rainfall, and snowfall, so let us know also there in Chicago what the conditions are like. But it does appear like earlier this morning there was some extremely heavy snowfall. Again, those whites are going to be very heavy snowfall. The blues within those whites are going to be whiteout conditions or blizzard conditions. So certainly very intense snowfall happening in a lot of these areas. Some of the most intense we've seen all year from looking at the current radar conditions. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on and we're going to talk about the modeled guidance, because again, there is very important things to go over as the pattern kind of unfolds here in the coming days. Now, as we take a look at this modeled guidance according to our European model, we see the snowfall up there in the upper Midwest is kind of just going to die down by the time we're reaching tomorrow morning. So overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, that is going to come to an end. We see much more storminess tomorrow morning for the Northwest. So when we do look at the current conditions tomorrow, we will see a lot more activity happening. We can see there's this flow through Mexico and up through Texas into Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Louisiana here. Now that usually isn't very indicative of nor'easter type storms. It's more like this type of a flow, or perhaps we see more cutters with this, where it's like this, which usually means warmer temperatures here for the southeast, which is kind of what we've been seeing. For really big flow of nor'easters, you'd want to see it coming through the southwest. That's why El Niños oftentimes feature much more nor'easter activity than La Niñas, like the one we're in. Because in an El Niño, we see the precipitation flowing in from the southwest. In a La Niña, we see it flowing in from the northwest. That's the big difference there. And again, that's why we don't see a lot of nor'easters in the type of teleconnection we're in. I want to just continue this on, though. We see that kind of just dives down to the southeast and comes to an end. We do see a pretty decent snowstorm here for the northeast, potentially. We're looking for maybe 1, 2, or even 3 inches of snowfall for some spots, which, I mean, it's early winter, so that's obviously going to be a little bit more impactful than it would be if we've already seen major snowstorms, but we really haven't at this point, so that's the most activity we've seen so far this year. We see that the west continues to receive snowfall, and then we see this storm developing. We've been seeing this for a few days now, and this is the main leading cause to the change in the pattern, and this is only 93 hours out. This is not, days and days and days and days we're talking. This is just the 12th. This is 3 days from now. Monday the 12th here. And we see this brings the Rocky Mountains a lot of snowfall. And then it kind of moves northward 993, and it has this cold front behind it. And we are watching for severe weather out ahead of it. Again, I've referenced that Monday through Thursday. I do expect severe weather to be possible, and I've been saying that for probably about a week now. We do see this cold front just continues on here. This is by the time we're reaching Wednesday afternoon. We see a lot of cold air behind it here. And we see a lot of snowfall to the north from this storm, as you can see, for the upper Midwest. So around Tuesday to Wednesday to even Thursday, we're going to be receiving those types of conditions. And we can see now by the time we're reaching Thursday afternoon, the frontal boundary looks like this, and we can tell cold air is pouring in, especially for the south, actually, which is very interesting. We start to see freezing rain and wintry precipitation up here in the northeast. So I want you to watch closely, because Thursday evening we start to receive a major snowstorm here in the northeast, Thursday into Friday. We see a 991 millibar low pressure center there right near Cape Cod, and this is prime position to see a interior snowfall event there for a lot of the northeast and even more coastal regions. As you can see, it moves offshore as a 979. We start to see areas like Connecticut, Rhode Island, perhaps southern Massachusetts as well, even Boston area potentially seeing snowfall here as we reach Saturday morning. And then eventually that storm comes to an end, but what we're left with here is a trough in the east. As you can see, plenty of cold air here in the east, and this would basically bring the pattern change that we've been waiting for. Now, what leads me to believe we could get into a nor'easter pattern is look at all this activity down here towards the end of this model run. We're going to take this with a grain of salt, but we can tell that the flow is maybe going to start to move along that jet stream here, as it appears like there's a lot of precipitation and storminess moving in through the southwest here, which is not the most common thing in a La Nina, but it's not impossible either. Also, a lot of this activity down here suggests that we could start to see some storms brewing here in the Gulf, which your traditional nor'easters do start out there. So, a lot of interesting things to track here for the eastern United States. Every single day, things are looking more and more interesting here, in my opinion. So, we're going to just continue to track this every single day, like always. So, be sure to subscribe, by the way, and let's just take a look at the total precipitation, and then we'll get into the snowfall and temperature here. But we're taking a look at the precipitation. If you're anywhere in the whites, we're expecting practically no precipitation. Your grays, 1/10 of an inch or less of precipitation. Your greens, 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Blues, 1/2 an inch to an inch. Your yellows, 1 inch to 2 inches. Reds, 2 to 5 inches there. And then your browns, 5 to 10 inches of precipitation. As you can see, the western United States is receiving a lot all the way from the southwest up to the northwest. But also you can tell there's a flow up the eastern United States here that's receiving a lot of this precipitation also. Now, total snowfall here, no surprise, the Northeast expects a lot, so particularly pay attention to that area, but I am going to be just going over the numbers here. The grays are going to be a dusting, if anything. Blues, 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. Don't know why I just said that so weird. 2 to 6 inches of snowfall there. Purple, 6 to 10. Pinks, 10 to 20 inches of snowfall. Your pastel blues, like we see here in the Green Mountains, the White Mountains, and even the Adirondacks in the Northeast, that is going to be 20 to 35 inches of snowfall potentially. And then our pastel pinks and purples, like we see here within the blues for the Sierra Nevadas right there, that is going to be 35 to 48 inches plus. But I can tell you, if you look at the very bottom right-hand corner of your screen right now, we do have a maximum of 141.5 inches of snowfall expected somewhere. According to this model, that is an extreme number, so we will take that with a grain of salt, but that would be monstrous amounts here for our Sierra Nevada mountains. Certainly just extreme levels of snowfall. Very, very interesting stuff. Now, finally, let's go over that temperature pattern real quickly. And we do see our southeast ridge still playing a part in this pattern as of now, and our negative PNA. So we see negative PNA, Pacific North American Oscillation. Colder temperatures out here means negative PNA, and this forces the warm air to move around that cold air mass because it's like water and oil, and it does not want to mix. So we do see that this leads towards exactly what I just said, warmer temperatures for a lot of the southeast and eastern United States as a whole. We do see that this cold air mass in eastern Canada does like to throw a few cold air masses down southward. This isn't the most common thing, but we do see it from time to time. Very, very interesting stuff Saturday into even Sunday. And then especially here on Tuesday and Wednesday, we see that happening, but still nothing has really changed out west. Very, very cold in a negative PNA, but we see this cold front lined up right here, moving across the nation, and this is going to start to play a part here in the pattern. So by the time we reach Thursday and even Friday, look at that. The cold reaches the southeast here with that cold front. And then as we go beyond this is Saturday the 17th, we can see that it actually gets colder with time. So by the time we're reaching Monday the 19th, we actually see some deep Arctic air, and it does seem like this air mass here is potentially starting to move. Which, if we could start to get a positive PNA, that would really mean a cold end for December. But we really have to watch it closely and take it with a grain of salt. These models uh, handled, I'll tell you what, they handled August, September, October, November perfectly. All four, when we saw these long range cooldowns, they panned out. I mean, if you guys have been watching, you know it's true. But the second December 1st hit, the models completely fell off and have started to become very, very inaccurate. Now, I'm starting to see some consistencies, again, with the storm, the cold front, the cool down. It's all happening at the same time, according to the models, and we've seen that for maybe 3 or 4 days in a row now, which is a really good sign that it's a solid chance at a cool down, and it's not so long range anymore. So we're really watching that. I really feel more and more confident in that each and every day. So be sure to tune in with us as we every single day we'll upload and talk about it, and we will get to the bottom of it and figure out if it's for sure going to happen or not. So be sure to subscribe. Also hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we do upload so you never miss one. Also like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts, and I will see you guys in the next video.